Appreciate them. We also have at the gallery members of National Association of Igbo Students, University of Abuja chapter. Please rise up for recognition. So colleagues, let's appreciate them. Please take your seat. We also have at the gallery students of United Baptist Academy, Buhari, Abuja. Rise up for recognition. So let us appreciate them too. Please take your seat. We also have at the gallery visitors from Gombe State House of Assembly. And these visitors include the clerk and staff of Gombe State House of Assembly. You are welcome to the National Assembly. Honorable colleagues, let's appreciate them. And I hope the clerk will be able to take away one or two things after today's visit. Please take your seat. This is an announcement signed by Honorable Johnson Agboyima informing the National Assembly that the Oba of Benin, His Royal Majesty, is visiting Abuja, and that this should serve as a notice that His Majesty might likely visit the National Assembly. So through you, the National Assembly, House of Representatives particularly, is welcoming Oba of Benin to the city of Abuja and the seat of Nigerian government. Any member who has a petition to present may please rise to do so now. Dr. Tajuddin Abbas.
Right, Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Abbas Tajuddin. I represent Zaria Federal Constituency. I'm from Kaduna State. Honorable Speaker, I have a petition from one Bashir Shitu, who was a former staff of Nigerian Institute of Transport Technology, Zaria, who was suspended and later his appointment terminated in 1996 as a result of fraud that took place in the personnel unit, in the payroll unit of the bursary department of that institution. He sought for government, he went to court in 1997 to seek for redress, and the High Court granted that he was innocent of all the charges against him and ordered that the Nigerian Institute of Transport Technology should reinstate him back on his job. But 20 years later, the man is still grappling. The institution refused to comply with the court's order. He therefore resorted to come to this hallowed chamber to seek for redress. With the kind permission of Mr. Speaker, I would want to proceed to lay his petition. Thank you.
Please go ahead and do so.
Honorable Speaker, I have a petition. My name is Honorable.
Minor, I've not recognized you. Take your seat. Tajudeen Abbas, you are disrupting the process. Now, Lawal Minor, present your petition.
Honorable Speaker, my name is Honorable Mahmoud Lawal Minor, representing Mafa Dikwakondiga from Borno State. I have a petition of Mrs. Mariam Danna Mohammed against her wrongful disengagement from service as General Manager, Audit and Compliance of Niger Delta Power Holding Company, and refusal to reinstate her despite presidential directive to that effect. Rather strangely, Mr. Mohammed was disengaged via a letter from the former SGF, Engineer Babachir David Lawal, on 10 June 2016 without committing any offense whatsoever. In fact, she was never found wanting.
Please go ahead. Chairman, House Services, come and inherit the Chief Whip seat. It's a candle affair. Honorable Epotai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Owidre Ekpotai. I represent the people of Eket, Ona, Esreket, even on federal constituency. I'm from Akwa Ibom State. I have a list of 10 petitions here from Nigeria, because this house is for the Nigerian people. Number 1 petition is petition by Nnamdi Nwachukwu Esquire on behalf of Mr. Ugonna G. Obani against the Nigerian Customs Services on failure, refusal, and neglect of the Nigerian Customs to obey the House of Representatives resolution on the petition by Mr. Ugonna G. Obani. Number 2, complaint by Oke Onibo Esquire on behalf of Ozaways Multipurpose Cooperative Society Limited and 9 other multipurpose cooperative societies against Mrs. Ezinne Otuka, Abia State, Fadama 3 Additional Financing Project Coordinator. Complaint by Mrs. Miriam Dana Mohammed against wrongful disengagement as General Manager Audit in Niger Delta Power Holding Company. Petition by Alhaji Abdullahi Muhammad on behalf of Retrency National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism against Bureau of Public Service Reforms for non-payment of severance benefits. Number 5, petition by Engineer Chief Edward Ujege on behalf of Mzu Youth Idoma National Forum, Omi Ngede, over alleged planned attack on Benue State, sponsored by Meiti Allah Kuta Horn Fulani Social Cultural Organization, over the implementation of the law to prohibit open rearing and grazing of livestock and provide for the establishment of ranches and livestock administration regulations and control. Number 6, petition by Daniel Omaka Esquire on behalf of Mr. Abraham Ehiboe against National Bureau of Statistics, National Pension Commission on non-payment of his pension. Number 7, petition by Johnson Oyewole Esquire on behalf of Abdul Umar against just dismissal from the Nigerian Army, RE799N/32402L/CPL, Haruna Lawal, 95NA/39265LCPCL, Abdul Umar. Number 8, petition by Ikuroti Barry Faga David on behalf of Nembe Youth Emancipation Network against the management of NNPC/AITEO on pipeline surveillance contract. Number 9, petition by F.A. Ogoji Esquire on behalf of Opokula Kula Boro and 8 other communities against the official of Aito Pipelines Company Limited on award of NTCL surveillance to Ogunivi Nigeria Limited by officials of Aito Pipelines Company Limited need to involve all stakeholders as to forestall untold consequences resulting from surveillance operation. Petition 10 by Fini Jablis in respect of injustice meted to Fini Jablis trading under the name and style of Omaria and Associates by Shell Petroleum Development Company, SPDC, regarding NGO 1001316 A28 and NGO 100312829. I plead the indulgence of the House that I should lay this petition on the floor of the House. Thank you.
Please do. Abdurrahman Shoaib.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my dear honorable colleagues. My name is Abdurrahman Shoaib. I represent Mubi North, Mubi South, and Maiha Federal Constituency. I'm from Adamawa State. Mr. Speaker, I have a very pathetic petition here, petition from Empowerment for Unemployed Youth Initiative and 9 other civil society organizations. The petition is against the Federal Ministry of Transport and Federal Ministry of Defense, respectively, over the unconditional ceding of Nigerian coastal waterways to a foreign company, HSLI Security Firms and Technologies, at the cost of $195 million, and also the clandestine proposal to present before the Federal Executive Council next week the colonization of the Nigerian Navy and control of our waterways to Shofac Consortium Limited for exchange of 100 boats. Mr. Speaker, they are seeking the intervention of this House. With your kind permission, may I lay the petition before the House? Thank you.
Please do. Any other petition? Petitions refer to the Committee on Public Petitions. Honorable Abubakar Chika.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My dear colleagues, I am Abubakar Chika Adamu. I represent Shiroro Raifimuya Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Niger State. Mr. Speaker, I'm coming under Order 8, Rule 4, motion of urgent public importance. And my motion of today is a need to investigate the status and viability of the Fast Power Program, accelerated gas production for power generation by the Federal Ministry of Power. Mr. Speaker, I so submit and I urge the House to suspend the rules to enable me to take the motion. Thank you.
Any seconder for the first leg of the motion? Yes, Honorable Akiwumi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleagues, my name is Akiwumi Nuruddin Olaitan, Ifakoijaye, Federal Constituency, the State of Excellence, Lagos. I rise to second the first leg of the motion as moved by Honorable Chika. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Any seconder, Honorable Ibrahim Siaka.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable members. Ibrahim Ayokunle Siaka is my name, Mr. Speaker. I represent the very good people of Ifo Ewekoro Federal Constituency. I'm from Ogun State. I rise, Mr. Speaker, to second the second leg of the motion, ably moved by my honorable colleague, Adam Chika. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Chika, please, your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I still remain Abubakar Chika Adamu. I represent Shiroro Rafimuya Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from just the nearby state, Niger State. Mr. Speaker, my motion, as I said earlier, is on the need to investigate the status and viability of Fast Power Program accelerated gas production for power generation by the Federal Ministry of Power. The House, note that the Fast Power Program located in Rivers State is a project designed to add gas-fired generation capacity and new gas supply for incremental power of 240 megawatts on the national grid in 2017 and 2018 in partnership with the International Original Equipment Manufacturers, OEM, with proposed expansion capacity of 600 megawatt in future. Informed that the proposed financing structure of the power project requires federal government to invest 15% of the capital cost of the project, with the partner OEMs spreading the 85% of the capital cost over 5 years, payable from the power purchase agreement revenues of the project. The project are set up as licensed power companies in line with the current industry structure. Also informed that the federal government 15% investment in recoverable upon sale of the shares of the companies in the expedited transaction to be implemented by Bureau for Public Enterprises and Ministry. Federal government will retain a carried interest to ensure all permits, license, and agreement with the government agencies is provided. Aware that the first project is on target to deliver 240 megawatt at Afam 3 power station before July 2017, with stranded gas from Shell's Oklahoma gas processing facility, on which the partner OEM has agreed to spread the 85% of the $186 million equivalent to 56,730 million naira cost, which is over 5 years. Observed that the total cost of the project amounting to $186 million with 15% down payment of $27.99 million already paid to the OEM, and 35% and already paid to the OEM, 35% payment security of $65.31 million due for payment but not yet paid, and 85% balance payment, which involved monthly payment of over 5 years at 9%. 9% interest is too exorbitant with the high cost of payment default in the future. determined to unmask whether the project was completely bidded for before it was awarded to the General Electric, or whether the project have a license from NERC and MBET and the general uncertainties of the project. Resolved to, 1, mandate the Committee on Power and Public Procurement to investigate the uncertainties / viability of the Fast Power project and report back to the House for further legislative action. 2, urge the Federal Ministry of Power to stop forthwith further payment of the Fast Power project pending the outcome of the committee's investigation. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I so submit.
Any seconder, Honorable Olajide Jimoh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jimoh Olajide. I represent Lagos Mainland Federal Constituency, Lagos State. I stand to second the motion as moved and ably submitted by Honorable Chika. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Chika.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, the motion is all about the power project that the government is going into. Mr. Speaker, first of all, when we went for the roadshow on the Eurobond, what I mean, we are taking a loan that we have approved in this house. The government is taking that loan at the rate of 6.5%. But here we are calling an investor after paying 15% down payment, and the other remaining 85% of the payment is expected to be paid over 5 years. And we are taking, or we are guaranteeing 9% of that 85%. After all, it is a business where the company is also going to benefit from a profit margin as a in regard to establishing that power project. 1. 2, Mr. Speaker, I draw the attention of this House also to take note that there is also another 35% which is about to be paid in the sum of about $65 million. That 35% is now giving me confusion. Is now the project going to cost Nigeria 135%? Because we have 85% that is going to be spread over a period with an interest rate of 9%, and here we are again paying another 35% as security. Mr. Speaker, I am confused when I read about this project, and that necessitated that I should come to this house to find out how was even the project couched. What are the interests that Nigeria is going to drive at this time, building a power plant that we will sell over time? I think Nigeria is not supposed to be in this business any longer, because we will use the public fund to build plants and at the end of the day sell it to people outside at discount rate. I believe this should be purely business. Nigeria is only here to guarantee the power purchase agreement. Where the power, you have produced power and it has not been purchased, I believe Nigeria now can decide to say, okay, we have guaranteed that is when we will pay you. But we should make it strictly business. Create the enabling environment, not to even bring the project that the government will fund with other complications that cannot be easily understood by the common man. So, Mr. Speaker, this is where I stand as regard to this motion. And that is why I want us to investigate, in fact, the technicality behind the couching of the project, or behind the contract project of the power plant. And I believe Nigerian money should not put to waste. Nigerian money should either be put to other infrastructure, and business should be purely business. We have seen how we have rehabilitated the power plant at a day. Even the existing power plant were sold to people at a very, very discount rate. So I don't think Nigerian money should go now into production of power plant that will now be sell to any other person, and with even complications. So, Mr. Speaker, this is my stand, and this is where I remain as regard to this motion. Thank you.
Yes, Engineer Solomon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues. Engineer Solomon Maren is my name, and I represent the very good people of Mangu Bokos Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from the home of peace and tourism. Mr. Speaker, I rise to also support this very and all-important motion brought to the floor by my very humble colleague, Honorable Chika. Mr. Speaker, at a time that our country is practically in recession, but theoretically out of recession. At a time, Mr. Speaker, that we are borrowing money to fund capital projects that are provided for in our budget. At a time that, Mr. Speaker, you cannot drive on any road in this country more than 2 kilometers without braking and almost coming to a stop due to the bad nature of these roads. Mr. Speaker, at a time that we are trying to connect many parts of this country with rail transport service in order to reduce the pressure on our roads. Mr. Speaker, at a time that we have invested so much in this power, and at the end of the day, it's almost it will be given. It's always given out almost at a free rate to businessmen. Is it not time, Mr. Speaker, that we begin to build only the conducive environment where people can build businesses, can build these power plants of them, for themselves, and guarantee only the sale of this power that is generated from these power plants? Mr. Speaker, like my colleague said, it is worrisome when 15% of a contract has been paid and 85% again has been spread over a period of time, and you apply it that you take more money from that same contract. Mr. Speaker, it then means that we are not prioritizing properly for effective growth. And because of that, Mr. Speaker, I'm afraid for my children and I'm afraid for my grandchildren what type of country we are trying to leave behind. And I think it is time, Mr. Speaker, that we must rise to ensure that we leave back a country, behind a country, that our future generation will be proud of whatever we're able to do today. And I think I want to call on my colleagues to support this motion so that it will go through and that proper investigation is carried out. That is my submission, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Engineer Chris. Okay. Honorable Olajide Jimo.
Thank you, Mr. My name is Jima. Investigation. I want to suggest that we wait until the outcome of the investigation is out before we can now make any further comment. That's my comment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nena. Then thereafter, Honorable D. Dore, then we close the debate on it.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you very much. I want to align. My name is Nena Ilendi KJ, member representing Bende Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to align my line of argument with the immediate past speaker that says that since this matter is existential and it's very important and it lies at the heart of everything that we do in this country, the power issue, I think that since this motion called for an investigation, that we should allow the committees to carry out the investigation and bring the report before the House so that we may glean from the expert opinions on the matter, rather than us to give the impression that we're already taking sides or we believe the allegations. Mr. Speaker, I would therefore suggest, like the last speaker has just said, that we allow the committees that it has been referred to carry out a proper in-depth investigation into the matter to enable the House to take a proper decision at the end of it. I so submit. Thank you.
Honorable Doye, despite those submissions, are you still hitching for a contribution?
Yes, my right honorable speaker. I remain Diri Doye. I represent the very good people of Yenagoa, Kolokuma, Opokuma Federal Constituency in Bayelsa State. Mr. Speaker, I want to add my voice to this very important matter raised by my colleague, Honorable Chika. Mr. Speaker, the question is, why are we always awarding contracts? We have generated about 10,000 megawatts. Where is the transmission? Where is the distribution? The power is there. It cannot be transmitted. It cannot be distributed. And we are not doing anything to look at evacuating that power that is already generated. And yet, we are rushing again to award another contract. Mr. Speaker, it will interest you to note, honorable colleagues, that the sum of about 6 million naira was allegedly, $6 million, was allegedly paid to GE for miscellaneous. The question is, miscellaneous for what? Mr. Speaker, this is the time to investigate this matter. I add my voice and I think it should be investigated. Thank you.
Yes, after that, the submission, there is an amendment to the prayer. We have been duly guided by other honorable colleagues that because the motion itself is investigative in nature, we should not try to preempt most of the issues that will be raised. So I have an amendment proposed by Honorable Ayodele Oladimeji. So can you read your amendment?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Dear colleagues, my name is Ayodele Oladimeji. I represent Ado Ekiti, the airport of Federal Constituency from Ekiti State. I rise to move for amendment of Prayer 1. Being a public debt, I request that we amend that prayer to read, mandate the committees of power, public procurement, and aid loans and debt management to investigate the uncertainty, viability of fast power projects and report to the House for further legislative action. Thank you.
His amendment is to include the House Committee on Aids, Loans, and Debt. So any seconder, aside the fact that the prayer is mandating the House Committee on Power and Procurement, there is now adding the Committee on Aids, Loans, and Debt. Honorable Oni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Oni Olamide from Ekiti, Ijero, and for Federal Constituency. I'm from Ekiti State. I rise to second the amendment assembly moved by Honorable Oladimeji. I so second.
Those in favor of that amendment say aye. Those against say nay. Nays have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended. Okay, thank you for being observant. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Rita Oji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues. My name is Rita Oji, member representing Ajeromi, Ifelodu Federal Constituency from Lagos State. Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues, I'm coming under Order 8, Rule 4, to bring up a motion on urgent need to review the new Nigerian visa policy in United States of America that commenced from October 16, 2017. I'm equally coming under the same other sub-rule to ask that the matters, the relevant sections of our law be suspended for me to take it now. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Yeah, thank God. Muazu is seconding the motion this morning. Honorable Muazu.
Mr. Speaker, I know I'm your friend now. My name is Honorable Ismail Muazu Hassan, member representing Akwa Federal Constituency from Gombe State. I rise to second motion moved by Honorable Rita. I say second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For the second leg of the motion, Chibok girl.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My respected thank you, Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues. I am Asabe Vilita Bashir. I represent Chibok, Goza, and Damboa Federal Constituency. I come from Borno State. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to second the second leg of the motion that the relevant rules of this House be suspended to enable my sister, Rita Oji, bring up her matter. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Rita Oji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues. My name once again is Barrister Mrs. Rita Oji, member representing Ajeromi Ifelod Federal Constituency. The motion on urgent need to review the new Nigerian visa policy in the United States of America that commenced on October 16, 2017. The House knows the alleged new Nigerian visa policy, which come into effect in the United States of America, October 16, 2017, to fleece Nigerians in diaspora by whatever means. The House also knows that the two businesses, Innovative Services Incorporated and Integrated Solutions, OIS, jointly owned by Nigerians, are based in the United States, with 6 centers and offices in the 50 states of the United States. The House is aware that anyone wishing to obtain a Nigerian visa is requested to go and complete a biometric process of fingerprinting and capturing with this business concern. The House is aware that the company charges each applicant a fee of $20 and a visa fee on the same passport of $12 just for the delivery of the passport. Worried that the visa process is logically flawed in that not only you are applicants are now required to pay additional $90 to the same group of owners of OIS that has just 6 centers across the entire area. Only in New Jersey, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Houston, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. Further worried that Nigerians in diaspora bear the financial burden of transportation, accommodation, feeding, just to obtain this visa only in these few centers out of 50 states of America. The concern that the same business concern stated that the BVN registration, which they charge every Nigerian in diaspora who wishes to maintain their bank account, of another cost. The House further concerned that the alleged OIS has been assigned the sole duty of doing biometric for every Nigerian to obtain a visa in USA by the Foreign Affairs Ministry, and the mind-blogging of $90 per applicant and $180 again to be paid online. The House resolved that the Committee on Foreign Affairs to commence investigation on this allegation and immediately set the image of Nigeria as the petitions are already on the internet for people to sign. Urge the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Interior to stay action on this proposed scheme pending the outcome of this investigation. Urge the House Committee on Diaspora as a matter of urgency to liaise with the Nigerian Immigration Services to ascertain the veracity of this allegation in order to quell this uprising that is going on as a result of this allegation and report back to the House. Urge the Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance as a resolution of the House. I so move it.
Any seconder? Honorable Lovett, DC.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I remain Chief Idisi Lovett. I represent the good people of Ethiopia East and West Federal Constituency of Delta State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague, I'm an honorable chief. I rise to second the all-important motion as ably moved by my sister Rita Oji. I so second. Thank you.
Yeah, because of the implication of matter at hand, I will go ahead and put the question and allow the House Committee on Foreign Relations to do the job so that we do not preempt the issues that will be raised. And of course, issue of visa has a lot to do with Nigeria image. So the question is, those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, the first business of the day is presentation of 8 bills. The clerk is invited to read the short title of the bills.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Nigeria Natural Medicine Development Agency Establishment Bill, first reading. Raw Materials Research and Development Council, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2017, first reading. Federal Institute for Industrial Research Bill 2017, first reading. Federal College of Education, Akwete Establishment Bill 2017, first reading. Federal Polytechnic Cocoa Establishment Bill 2017, first reading. Ministries, departments, and agencies MDS Compulsory Website Bill 2017, first reading. Private Guards Company Act Amendment Bill 2017, first reading. Federal Government Staff Housing Loans Board Act Amendment Bill 2017, first reading.
Honorable colleagues, the second business of the day is presentation of report of the ad hoc committee on the investigation of the planned relocation of Shell Petroleum Development Company, SPDC, from Port Harcourt, River State, standing in the name of Honorable Ibrahim Isiaka. Honorable members will recall that the matter was referred to the committee on Thursday, 26 January 2017. The report is ready for presentation. Honorable Isiaka is invited to present the report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Good morning once again. Distinguished honorable members, Ibrahim Ayokunle Isiaka, I represent the very good people of P4, a Westboro Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ogun State. I rise, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of my honorable colleagues, saddled with the responsibility of this committee, the ad hoc committee on investigation of Shell Petroleum relocation. Mr. Speaker, ad hoc committee on the investigation of the planned relocation of Shell Petroleum Development Company, SPDC, from Port Harcourt, River State. The report, which is the temporary one, is ready for presentation and to be laid, Mr. Speaker. I seek the permission of the House, under your leave, to lay the report, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Shuaib.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my right honorable colleagues. My name is Abdurrahman Shuaib. I represent Mubi North, Mubi South, and Maiha Federal Constituency. I'm from Adamawa State. I rise, Mr. Speaker, to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Isiaka to lay the report. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Isiaka, please lay the report. Honorable colleagues, the third business of the day is presentation of 3 reports of the Committee on Power, standing in the name of Honorable Daniel Asuko. The reports are ready for presentation, and I invite Honorable Asuko to please present the reports.
Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, my name is Honorable Dan Asuko. I represent people of Aka and Kwabiase Federal Constituency, and I'm from Cross River State. I hereby move to present the report of the House Committee on Power. 3 reports from the House Committee on Power. 1, that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Power on a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission meters reading, billing, cash collection and credit management for electricity supplies regulation number 42 of 2007 to address matters relating to outstanding liability of electricity bills in rented apartments and for related matters, HB 510. Second report, that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Power on a bill for an act to provide for the utilization, sustainability and adequate supply of renewable energy for electricity and heat generation and for related matters, HB 440. The last report is that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Power on a bill for an act to amend the Electricity Power Sector Regulatory Act, Cap E7 laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 2004 to reposition the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission for effective service delivery and for other related matters, HB 611. May I move to present this report? I so move.
And it's Honorable Kuruka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Kiruka Oyegeorge. I represent the good people of Isuku Atumuno, Federal Constituency. I am from Abia State. I rise to second the motion as moved by my colleague, Honorable Daniel Asuko. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Please, Honorable Asuko, lay the reports. Honorable, the fourth business of the day is presentation of report of the Committee on Finance on a bill for an act to amend the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission Act, Chapter R7, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make provisions for any revenue generating agencies and enhance the revenue profile and remittances into the Federation account to facilitate national development and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Babangida Ibrahim, honorable members will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Thursday, 1st December 2016. The report is ready for presentation, and Honorable Ibrahim is invited to present it. I think the Deputy Chairman of the Committee on Finance is on the floor, so please present your report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I, Honorable Austin Chukukere, member representing the federally marginalized people of Idato North, Idato South Federal Constituency. I'm from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Finance on a bill for an act to amend the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission Act, Cap R7, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make provisions for any revenue generating agencies and enhance the revenue profile and remittances into the Federation account to facilitate national development and for related matters, HB 542. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Ezekiel.
Honorable Speaker, my colleagues, I'm Honorable Ezekiel Adaji. I'm from Benue State. I represent Utupo Ohim. I stand to second the motion to allow Austin to present his report. I so second, Honorable Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Finance, please lay the report. Honorable colleagues, the fifth business of the day is presentation of report of the Committee on AIDS, Loans and Debt Management on the proposed external borrowing request for state governments under the 2016-2017 external borrowing rolling plan for Jigawa, Katsina, Ogun, and Plateau states. Standing in the name of Honorable Adeyinka Ajayi, honorable members will recall that the request was referred to the committee on Tuesday, 6 June 2017. The reports are ready, and I invite Honorable Ajayi to lay the reports. Honorable Ajayi. Honorable Adeyinka Ajayi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Adeyinka Ajayi. I represent the people of Odot in Felodu and Boripe local governments. Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues, I am from the state of Osun. Mr. Speaker, may I move that the House do receive the report of the Committee on AIDS, Loans and Debt Management on the proposed external borrowing request for state governments under the 2016-2018 external borrowing rolling plan for Jigawa, Katsina, Ogun, and Plateau states. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any second, Honorable Flatter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Obakar Hassan Flatter. I represent Bruniwa, Krika Sama, Budi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. I stand to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Adeyinka Ajayi that the House do receive the report of the Committee on AIDS, Loans and Debts on the proposed external borrowing request for the state governments under 2016-2017 external borrowing rolling plan for Jigawa, Katsina, Ogun, and Plateau states. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Yinka Ajayi, please lay the report. Leader, approach the chair. Honorable colleagues, the sixth business of the day is presentation of report of the Committee on Commerce on a bill for an act to amend the Oil and Gas Export Free Zone Authority Act, Chapter 05, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to provide for the designation and establishment of oil and gas free zones in Nigeria and for other related matters, Standing in the name of Honorable Sylvester Ogbaga, honorable members will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Wednesday, 10 May 2017. The report is ready for presentation. I now invite Honorable Ogbaga to present the report.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Sylvester Ogbaga. I represent Abakaliki, Izifira constituency. I'm from Ebonyi State. I move that this House do receive the report of Committee on Commerce on a bill for an act to amend the Oil and Gas Export Free Zones Authority, Act Cap 05 Law of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to provide the designation and establishment of oil and gas free zones in Nigeria, and for other related matters. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Jega.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My name is Mohammed Umar Jega, representing Aloro Gondo, Jega Federal Constituency. I'm from Kebbi State. I rise to second the motion, heavily moved by my honorable colleagues. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Sylvester Ogbaga, please lay the report. Honorable colleagues, the seventh business of the day is presentation of report of the Committee on Foreign Affairs and Cooperation and Integration in Africa on review of Nigeria's continued membership of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, in view of the clamor to admit Morocco into the community, standing in the name of in Akoko Edo local government area and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 16 November 2017. I therefore call on the Leader of the House to move that the bill be now read the third time. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I rise to move that a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the School of Mines and Geological Studies in Akoko Edo local government area and for related matters, HB 105, be read a third time. I so move.
Empty.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohammed Tari Monguno. I represent Marte Monguno, Nganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. I hereby second the motion as heavily moved by the House Leader. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. I now invite the clerk to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the School of Mines and Geological Studies in Akoko Edo local government area and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read third time and passed. Honorable colleagues, the second order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to amend the Hydroelectric Power Production Area Development Commission Establishment, etc. Act 2010 to make provision for reduction of percentage on revenue generated by any company or authority from the operation of hydroelectric dams and for related matters. Standing in the name of the House Leader, honorable members will recall that the bill was transmitted from the Senate, seeking concurrence of the House, and read the first time on Thursday, 14 November 2017. And I invite the leader to move that the bill be now read a second time. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, with your kind permission, I would wish to, even though this is a concurrence bill from the Senate, it involves a major sector of our economy, which is power. And I wish to, at this point, get a fuller briefing and consultation with the Senate before we take this bill for concurrence. So I will be asking that we step this down for now. Thank you.
Bill stepped down by the leader of the House. Honorable colleagues, the third order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to amend the National Boundaries Commission Establishment Act, Chapter N10, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to provide for regular periodic delimitation and supervision of states, local governments, and community boundaries by the Commission so as to check and forestall boundary disputes and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Idagbo. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 24 October 2017. And I invite Honorable Idagbo to move that the bill be now read the second time. Honorable Idagbo, Chairman, Rules and Business. Sorry, Honorable Idagbo is on the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I rise to move that the bill to amend the National Boundaries Commission Establishment Act Cap 10 LFN 2004 to provide for regular periodic delineation and supervision of states, local government and community boundaries by the Commission so as to check and forestall boundary disputes be read the second time. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Sule Garo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Nasir Sule Garo, member representing Gorzako Federal Constituency. I rise to second that this bill be read for the second time. I so second.
Honorable Idagbo, please lead the debate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. This is a very straightforward bill. It's a bill that seeks to avert numerous communal clashes as a result of boundary issues. Before now, our boundaries are not properly delineated. The National Boundary Commission is not saddled with the responsibility of periodic checks and delineation of our boundaries. Because of that, various communities do not know where their actual boundaries lie. Even where they do, as years go by, these things tend to fade away, and the generations to come begin to argue as to where the boundaries lie. So this is an amendment that will ensure that the National Boundaries Commission do what they are supposed to do, move around year in, year out, to properly delineate our boundaries. It's a straightforward bill, Mr. Speaker. We are all witnesses to the numerous communal clashes that emanate from boundary disputes between communities. These disputes, most of them, are a result of non-delineation or improper delineation of boundaries between two communities. Mr. Speaker, with the use of technology that we have today, these boundaries can be so easily. Canada and Australia, this is what their boundary commission and their boundary agency does. They ensure that these boundaries are properly delineated so that every member of the community is aware where their boundaries lie. Mr. Speaker, even in the case of natural boundary lines, I will give you an instance of Cross River State, for instance. We have a natural boundary with our brothers from Akwa Ibom. It's a natural boundary demarcated by a bridge called the Itu Bridge. You know, but over time, our predecessors were aware of these boundaries and they respected these boundaries. Only recently, as time went on, people began to forget where this boundary was and people started encroaching. For 2 years now, we've been having boundary clashes with our sisters and brothers from Akwa Ibom. And what is the cause of these boundary clashes? People are not very sure where the boundary was. And this is the fault of the National Boundary Commission. If the Boundary Commission had swung into action and properly delineated these boundaries and marked it out, all this would have been avoided. We lose billions every year to boundary issues. We lose lives every year to boundary issues. It's a straightforward amendment, Mr. Speaker, and I urge my colleagues to support this amendment. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues.
Honorable EJ.
My right honorable Speaker and dear colleagues, my name is Honorable E.J. Agboanyima, representing the good people of Ego, Gobaka Federal Constituency, Edo State, the heartbeat of the nation. Mr. Speaker, let me stand to support this wonderful bill on the issue of our National Boundary Commission. Mr. Speaker, as you can see, a lot of issues regarding boundary in this country is causing a lot of life, property being destroyed as a result of community fighting each other because of boundary. Because the reason why the government has refused to do the needful to make the place, to create laws, even laws that are there are not being followed to the latter. Mr. Speaker, this bill is very straightforward, that something must be done in order to avert killings, youth be killed, women killed, our leaders killed, where communities are fighting against each other because of land dispute. Even in my state, Edo State, Mr. Speaker, you can even see, as of today, you see where somebody from nowhere coming to Edo to create himself that he owns the land and making himself to be a king in Edo State as of today because of this issue of boundary. Boundary, there's no reason why we shouldn't live together as one family, as one Nigeria. I think this bill will put an end, will help to curb the menace, the killings of innocent souls. We should live together as brothers and sisters. There's no need for fighting each other, coming to say you want to make yourself a king when you are not. A place that does not belong to you. You are not from Edo State. You just come from Ijo, you say you are now in Edo.
Honorable EJ, Honorable Shagun Adebumi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Adebumi Shagun is my name. I represent the good people of Ogoluwa's Surulere Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Oyo State. I rise to support this motion, this bill. Mr. Speaker, honestly, if this will bring solution to the problem that is being emanating from boundaries issues in Nigeria, I urge our colleagues to support this bill so that when we get to the public hearing, we can now deliberate further on, even if there will be need for us to introduce a tribunal into this matter. Because, Mr. Speaker, as far back as 15 years ago, even in my constituency when I was the chairman there is this problem, and up to today is still existing between Osun State and Oyo State. And even the commission, to me, they are toothless, that they cannot bite, because maybe there's need for us to go deep into the bill so that we can give them power to say the right thing and to make sure whatever the findings is binding on the people. Because this thing is causing serious problem within our community, and there is need for us to rise in order to save our people from unnecessary fighting within the land. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so submit.
Kiruka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Kiruka Oyejoch. I represent the good people of Isukwatu Federal Constituency. I am from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise here to speak in support of this motion because I am involved. My local government has 4 states boundaries: Imo State, Anambra, Ebonyi, and Enugu. As I speak today, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my people are fighting with Ebonyi people.
Chairman Local Content, Chairman Telecommunication, please take your seat.
On issues of boundary. And I believe that anything that will bring solution to these issues, I will support it anytime, any day. Because the bill is calling for amendment so that Boundary Commission will do periodic evaluation of boundaries. Believing that when they do that, people will be at peace, because it would have been a settled statute that my boundary is from so-so place to so-so place, and so there won't be any issue of discrepancy. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I lend my support to this bill, but I also have to say something here. The current Boundary Commission we have today, the question we should ask, are they empowered? Do they have enough manpower to do a periodic review of all this? So while we are looking at the amendment, we're also going to look at the issues of empowering the commission itself to be able to carry this massive job, because it is not like a tea party. You're talking about 36 states, including FCT. And so if you're going to do a periodic review, money has to be involved, manpower involved. But looking at those things doesn't mean that we are not going to do the needful. So I am saying that we should.
At all, that is controversial in this country. The issue of boundary is one of them. Because boundary is about ownership. And it's like chieftaincy titles that people can fight for at any point in time. And I know, sir, Mr. Speaker, if this amendment takes place, it will limit the controversy that we always witness everywhere. And if there's any other thing that are intertwined, that connect every sector together, or segment or community together is boundary. Talking of local government, state, and national. The three are combined. And you cannot separate one from the other. Take, for instance, in a particular local government, a local government in Lagos and another local government in the same Lagos can be fighting because of boundary, simply because of revenue. If this is adjusted, you will know your limits. Periodical checking is important. It's been a long time that this thing has been causing a lot of problems in this country. If we are periodic in this issue, it will take care of everything that can cause problems, sir. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Honorable Nena.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, for yielding the floor to me. My name is Nenna Ilendu KJ, member representing Bende Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm from Abia State. Initially, Mr. Speaker, when I read, of course, I stand to speak to the general principles of this bill. Initially, I was a little skeptical about it. And so I wanted to look at the functions of the National Boundary Commission to find out whether there was actually any need for this amendment. Now, having looked at the functions of the National Boundary Commission, it says delimit boundaries. However, what this amendment seeks to do is for there to be a periodic review of these delimitations as an amendment, and he wants it to be a further amendment to the bill, which he will call R. Mr. Speaker, the reason for that is that they come to the House of Representatives. Of course, there's the assumption that it should happen periodically. However, it does not happen periodically. And so that's the reason why we bring matters of urgent public importance on a regular basis, that there's border clashes between one community and the other community. What this seeks to do, as with all other advanced democracies, for instance, in the UK and in Australia, on a yearly basis, there is a review of the borders with a report that is submitted to Parliament yearly, so that the Parliament look at flashpoints, possible flashpoints, recognize the areas where there's a possibility of border clashes. Because if these reports are done around the length and breadth, the local and international borders of, and it is submitted to Parliament on a yearly basis, Mr. Speaker, then we can assume areas where there will be possible conflict between the borders. What this bill seeks to do by that additional clause
of Delta State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm an honorable chief. Mr. Speaker, while I commend the mover of this all-important bill, I want to throw in the wind of caution that we should be able to juxtapose the functions of the Boundary Commission and the functions of the Surveyor General of the Federation. Day in, day out, every day, there's one matter of public urgency concerning boundary disputes. And we keep referring this matter to the Boundary Commission. Delineation of Boundary Commission, in my view, is supposed to be the functions of the Surveyor General of the Federation. So when we start saddling the Boundary Commission extensively with these boundary issues, without looking at the real functions of the Boundary Commission, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, in my view, it might amount to climbing the mountain on a rainy day, and is next to impossible in achieving what we set to achieve. So my point is, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we should be mindful of the various functions of the Surveyor General and the Boundary Commission so that the House is properly guided. Correct. I so support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question now is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the law title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to amend the National Boundaries Commission Establishment Act, CAP N10, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to provide for regular periodic delimitation and supervision of states, local governments and community boundaries by the Commission so as to check and forestall boundary disputes and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Special Duties. Honorable colleagues, the fourth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to establish the Institute of Chartered Franchise Executives of Nigeria to be charged with the responsibility for registration and discipline of its members and for related, standing in the name of Honorable Sylvester Ogbaga. Honorable member, that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 6 April 2017. I now invite Honorable Ogbaga to move that the bill be now read a second time.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Ogbaga Sylvester. I represent Abakaliki Federal Constituency. I'm from Ebonyi State. Right, Honorable Speaker, I remain Honorable Sylvester Ogbaga, representing Abakaliki Federal Constituency. I'm from Ebonyi State. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, the 8th Assembly passed bill on franchise.
Honorable colleagues, let's listen to our colleague in silence. Honorable colleagues, let's listen to our colleague in silence. Honorable John Boo, take your seat. Magaji, let's listen to our colleagues in silence. So, Honorable Sylvester.
The 8th Assembly passed the bill on franchise in Nigeria, which is one of the bills on ease of doing business in this country. Then the operators of this bill came together as an institute that will direct how franchise could be used in doing business in Nigeria. In doing this, Mr. Speaker, what they seek is just the framework of operation of these functions. In the debate of the franchise, we see issues where people had agreement with the parent body of their franchise and they have issues and they cannot sort it out within themselves because they have nobody that caters for those individuals or organizations running franchise in Nigeria. So what this group of individuals get to do is to educate people coming into franchise business. It has to do with law firms, companies, traders, and distributors. So when they have themselves as a body, before they are accepted internationally, they should have a law guiding their operation. And what this bill seeks to do is to provide those legal framework for them to operate officially without limitations that could make international bodies reject their operations or their relationship. So what I'm appealing to members is to support the second reading of this bill. When anybody has anything to add on the roles these people should be doing in franchise and ease of doing business in Nigeria, the public hearing should provide that forum for people to make such additions or suppressions where necessary. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, I've just been guided that the bill has been thoroughly debated. And the question now is, those in favor of the motion that the bill be now read the second time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Bill referred to, Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill. Abdurrahman, you are interrupting me.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Franchise Executives of Nigeria to be charged with the responsibility for registration and discipline of its members and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to the House Committee on Commerce. Honorable colleagues, the fifth order of the day is commencement of debate on general principle of a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Television Authority Act, Chapter N136, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Odebumi Olusegun Dokun. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 27 September 2017. I now invite Honorable Dokun to move that the bill be now read a second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, Odebumi Olusegun is my name. I represent the good people of Ogoluwa, Surulere Federal Constituency. I'm from Oyo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that a bill for an act to amend the Nigeria Television Authority Act, Chapter 136, Law of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and for related matter. For the second reading, Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Any seconder? Wale Raji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Wale Raji. I represent a Federal constituency of Lagos State. I stand to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Odebumi. I so second. Thank you.
Honorable Odebumi, lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleague, I remain Odebumi Olusegun, member representing Surulere Ogoluwa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, the bill is a very straightforward bill, and we are just seeking the amendment to seek the review, certain provisions of the Principal Act to amend the Nigeria Television and Nigeria Television Authority for the purpose of repositioning the institution for the better performance and efficiency and service delivery in discharge it is mandate. Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, the Nigeria Television being a major Nigeria TV stations of Nigeria for Nigerians in advancing the interest of our nation deserve being repositioned by the virtue of our legislative bedrock to enhance it is effectively competing with amongst its peers locally and internationally. In view of this, Section 2 and 3 of the Principal Act is amended by introducing a new paragraph to allow for the Secretary of the Board of the institution and ensure the specific year for the tenure of the Director General, as well as determination for remuneration to be determined by the Revenue Mobilization Allocation Fiscal Commission. Also, Section 4, Section 5, Section 7, and 8 of the Principal Act are slated for amendment on the issue bordering on the operation procedure of the institution in order to enhance its operational efficiency and catalyst for effective competition with its private and public competitors within and outside Nigeria. Similarly, Section 22 of the Principal Act is amended in subsection 2 by increasing the borrowing power of the institution from 500,000 to 10 million naira for the purpose of enhancing effective service delivery as well as removing avoidable bottleneck hindering smooth operations of the institution. This is at the time for the authority to submit the financial estimate of this income and expenditure proposed for shift income expenditures for the shift and backward from 31st October back to 31st July of each year for transparency and the property in enhancing
the bill moved by Honorable Segun Odebumi. I think the bill is just seeking to make sure that the NTA, the Nigerian Telecommunication Authority, its operation can be smoothly, and going forward, we want to see NTA to be one of the best, being the largest network in Africa. So for adequate and smooth running of the stations, I think the bill is necessary. And I want to, Mr. Speaker, if we can just commit the bill to the necessary committee to act on it and report back to the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question now is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Television Authority Act, Cap N 136, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics, and Values. Honorable colleagues, Honorable Nkiruka Onyejeoka has added another year to her age. Today is her birthday, and is here seated elegantly. So, colleagues, let's wish her happy birthday. And she's requesting that after plenary, we all resume in our office to celebrate with her. On behalf of the House, I wish you happy birthday. At the point of cutting the cake, she will answer that question. Honorable colleagues, the sixth order of the day is a motion on rescission of the House resolution on the report of the Committee on Local Content on investigation into the provision of indigenous support vessel Total Upstream Nigeria Limited. Total Nigeria PLC tender for provision of PVC and terminal support reference NTD 00001632, pursuant to Order 9, Rule 16 of the Standing Order of the House of Representatives, standing in the name of Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. Honorable Gbajabiamila is invited to move the motion. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. May I once again crave your indulgence this morning to step this matter down till Tuesday next week and take it comprehensively. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Item stepped down by the leave of the House. Honorable colleagues, the seventh order of the day is a motion on need to rehabilitate a road dam in Ekiti State, standing in the name of Honorable Akinola Aina. Honorable Akinola is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Chief Thaddeus Akinola Aina, representing Idosi, Moba, and Ilejemeje. I'm from Ekiti State. The motion is the need to rehabilitate a road dam in Ekiti State. The House knows that a road dam which is situated at Ekiti in Moba local government area of Ekiti State is a major dam that has capacity to provide potable water for at least 14 local government areas in the state. Also knows that the dam has been underutilized due to lack of proper maintenance and poor funding by the federal government. As a result, Some of the equipment are fast becoming obsolete, therefore requiring replacement for proper functioning. Aware that lack of potable water in the area has made the residents of the communities that depend on the dam to resort to fetching water from streams and rivers as the only source of drinking water, a development that exposes the people to the risk of contracting deadly waterborne diseases like cholera and typhoid from the untreated water. Concerned that no positive results have been achieved by efforts to revive the dam, despite several moves that had been made in the past in that regard, and believing that immediate action needs to be taken to resuscitate the dam to provide potable water and starve off water, borne diseases, and a breakout of epidemic. The House Resort mandates the Committee on Water Resources to interface with Benin-Owena River Basin Development Authority to ensure the restoration of Ero Dam and report back within 6 weeks for further legislative action. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Any seconder? Is he an Ekiti affair? Okay, Honorable Oni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Oni Olamide. Member in Ijero Ekiti, Ekiti West, and Efala Federal Constituency from Ekiti State. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by Honorable Thaddeus Aina. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
This is an infrastructure-related motion, so I therefore go ahead to put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, the 8th order of the day is a motion on need to investigate the low concessionary tariffs running into hundreds of billions of naira granted by the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment to companies for importation of sugar, standing in the name of Honorable E.J. Agboyima. Honorable Agboyima is invited to move the motion.
My right, Honorable Speaker and dear colleagues, my name is Honorable E.J. Agboyima, representing the good people of Ego, Bubaka Federal Constituency, Edo State, the heartbeat of the nation. Need to investigate the low concessionary tariffs running into hundreds of billions of naira granted by the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment to companies for importation of sugar. The House notes that in 2013, the federal government approved low concessionary tariff of 5% duty and 5% levy to companies for importation of raw sugar as against the 5% duty and 70% levy contained in the National Sugar Policy. The House also notes that the National Sugar Development Council, NSDC, has revealed that some companies have flaunted the terms and conditions for obtaining a 3-year low tariff running into hundreds of billions of naira for sugar importation into the country. The House further notes that the high tariff for importation of refined sugar was deliberately designed to discourage importation and encourage local production of sugar, but the concession became necessary in order not to hike the local price of the commodity since the country has not yet achieved self-sufficiency in sugar production. Let the House be aware that the government took the decision to improve the National Sugar Master Plan policy because of the importance of the commodity, given that Nigeria, as at 2013, still depended on sugar importation to meet 90% of local demand, and realization that if sugar is to be imported at that high tariff, the cost will be excessively high. Let this House also be aware that the concession was then given to 3 companies that have signed a commitment for the Backward Integration Program, BIP, with the federal government, in which the money saved for the concession is to be invested in their farms to cater for sugar being sourced locally, with the target that by 2018, the companies will be able to produce 700,000 metric tons of sugar locally from those farms, create jobs for the teeming unemployed youth, diversify the economy from petroleum to agriculture, become a source of energy, and involve large-scale savings of money for the country. The House recalled that in November 2015, the Executive Secretary of the National Sugar Development Council, NSDC, Dr. Abdul Latif Demola Busari, revealed that some companies have flouted the terms and conditions for obtaining the 3 years low tariff for sugar importation. Let us observe that the grant of low tariff to those companies was for them to pull the savings from the concession into the Backward Integration Program, BIP, farm side, a move that will help the country achieve self-sufficiency in sugar production for both domestic consumption and export. This has concerned that the companies have nothing to show for the grant in their farm side. Over 3 years, they enjoy concessionary low tariff, run hundreds of billions of naira. Let this House resolve to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the low concessionary tariff given to the companies by the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment for sugar importation into the country from 2013 to 2000 thereof, as contained in the Backward Integration Policy. Mr. Speaker and my right honorable colleagues, I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Aina. Honorable Aina. Sorry, I was trying to refer to you. Please take your seat.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Dear colleagues, my name is Oladimeji Ayodele. I represent Ado Ekiti, the airport of the Federal Constituency. I'm from Ekiti State. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by Honorable E.J. Agboyima. I so second. Thank you.
Yes, the motion is investigative in nature and is requesting for a setup of another committee. So I would therefore go ahead to put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, the 9th order of the day is a motion on need to investigate the collapse of Etisalat Nigeria, now 9 Mobile, in order to protect the interest of Nigerian subscribers and other stakeholders, standing in the name of Honorable Saheed Akeade Fijabi. Honorable Fijabi is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My colleagues, my name is Saheed Akeade Fijabi. I'm representing Ibadan Southwest Northwest Federal Constituency of Oyo State. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hereby stand to move the motion for the need to investigate the collapse of Etisalat Nigeria 9 Mobile in order to protect the interests of Nigerian subscribers and other stakeholders. The House should note that Etisalat Nigeria, now 9 Mobile, commenced business in Nigeria in 2009 after acquiring the Unified Access License Spectrum in GSM 1800 and 900 MHz band from Nigerian Telecommunication Commission in January 2007, thus becoming Nigeria's fourth largest telecommunication network operator with over 21 million subscribers, controlling over bond to finance a major network rehabilitation, upgrade, and expansion of its operational base in Nigeria. Also aware that Etisalat had so far paid about half of the initial loan, amounting to about 504 billion naira, with total outstanding sum of $574 million, but have reneged on his debt service obligation after intervention of NCC and Central Bank of Nigeria to restructure the loan and new repayment deadline. Concerned that the failure of Etisalat to meet his debt servicing obligations with the bank service since 2016 resulted in foreign major shareholders pulling out and eventually takeover of the company by the banks. Cognizance that the takeover of Etisalat Nigeria, which was renamed Nine Mobile by the banks, is a clear violation of Section 38(1) of Nigerian Communication Act 2003, which provides that the grant of a license shall be personal to licensee, and the license should not be transferred by assigned or sub-license or transferred to any other party unless prior written approval from Nigerian Communication Commission has been granted. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we resolve that to mandate the Committee on Telecommunications to conduct an investigation with a view to ascertain what leads to collapse of Etisalat Nigeria and report back to the House for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Binta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion, and very important motion moved by the Chairman of Telecommunication. I so second.
Chairman, Telecommunication, yes, we have taken your motion in error, so we will go ahead and put the question. It's your job. You don't need to inform the House to do the investigation at all. But the motion has already been taken. So those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The only thing is a duty bound now to make sure that a proper report is submitted to the House for consideration. The 10th order of the day is a motion on the need to release funds to federal tertiary hospitals for payment of staff whose services were outsourced, standing in the name of Honorable Betty Apiafi and 17 other. Honorable Apiafi is invited to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Betty Apiafi. I represent Abua Odua Lahoda East Federal Constituency. I'm from Rivers State. Mr. Speaker, the motion is the need to release funds to federal tertiary hospitals for payments of staff whose services were outsourced. The House notes that in 2007, the federal government outsourced the services of cleaners, security staff, laundry, maintenance, and environmental staff in tertiary health institutions. And in 2015, about 40% of the outsourced funds was released to the institutions. However, in 2016 and 17, no releases of funds was made for the payment of these staff whose services were outsourced. Aware that the funds are not domiciled in the accounts of the respective health institutions for payment of the salaries of these outsourced staffs, hence the adverse effect on the service delivery and the service delivery capability of these institutions. Concerned that the failure to release the funds that were budgeted for payment of this staff has led to the crisis at the health institutions that have manifested in dirty environments, unhealthy living conditions for patients and staff, and frequent cases of industrial actions that have led to closures of some of the institutions. That the House resolves to urge the Federal Ministry of Health, the Federal Ministry of Finance, to urgently release the funds budgeted for 2015 16 and 17 for the payment of salaries of staff of health tertiary institutions whose services were outsourced. And secondly, the House resolves to mandate the Committee on Health Institutions to interface with the Federal Ministry of Finance and Director General of Budget Office of the Federation to ensure that funds provided for in the 2019 appropriation for payment of outsourced staff are domiciled in the accounts of the various teaching hospitals and federal medical centers. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman, House Committee on Appropriation. Honorable Mustafa Dawaki, suspend your appropriation meeting there, please. Any seconder? Gisalo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Zephaniah Gisalo. I represent Abuja Municipal Body Federal Constituency. I'm from FCT, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion as moved by Right Honorable Betty. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The motion is no debate, so both the Committee on Health Institution and the Legislative Compliance will see to the, implementation of the prayers of the motion. So because of that, I therefore go ahead to put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The 11th order of the day is consideration of report of the Committee on Aids, Loans and Debt Management on the proposed external borrowing request for state governments under the 2016-2017 external borrowing plan for Jigawa, Katsina, Ogun, and Plateau states. Honorable members will recall that the report was laid on Thursday, 23rd November 2017. I now invite Honorable Adeyinka Ajayi to move for its consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Honorable Adeyinka Ajayi. I represent the people of Odooti, Ifelodu, and Borikwe local governments. Mr. Speaker, I'm from the state of Osun. May I move that the House resume consideration of the report of the Committee on Aid, Loans and Debt Management on the proposed external borrowing request for state government under the 2016-2018 external borrowing rolling plan for Jigawa, Katsina, Ogun, and Plateau states, and approve the recommendations therein. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Ashurumani.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable members. Amin Ashurumani is my name, member representing Binda Mani. I am from Katsina State. I rise to second the motion heavily moved by Chairman, and I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The 12th order of the day is a consideration of reports of the Committee on Health Institutions on a bill for an act to repeal the Pharmacist Council of Nigeria Act, Chapter P17, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and reenact the Pharmacist Council of Nigeria Bill to regulate the training and practice of and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the report was laid on Thursday, 8 June 2017, and I invite Honorable Betty Apiafi to move for its consideration.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Betty Apia, I represent Abua Odola Hoda East Federal Constituency. I'm from Rivers State. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Health Institutions on a bill for an act to repeal the Pharmacist Council of Nigeria Act, Cap P17, laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 and reenact the Pharmacist Council of Nigeria Bill to regulate the training, practice of pharmacy and for related matters, HBS 656 and 364, and approve the recommendation therein. I so move.
Any seconder? Yes.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I am Garba Umar from Kano State, representing Sumela Take constituency. I do second the motion presented by my colleague, so I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The 13th order of the day is consideration of report on a bill for an act to establish Nigeria Financial Intelligence Agency as the central body in Nigeria responsible for receiving, requesting, analyzing, and disseminating financial intelligence reports and other information to law enforcement, security and intelligence agencies, and other relevant authorities, and for related matters. House Bill 1082 that was adjourned earlier. I now invite the chairman, EFCC, to move for resumption of consideration of the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. My name is Kayode Oladile. I represent Yewa North and Imekwa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ogun State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move for the continuation of consideration of a report on a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Agency as the central body in Nigeria responsible for receiving, requesting, analyzing, and disseminating financial intelligence reports and other information to law enforcement, security, and intelligence agencies and other related authorities and for related matters. House Bill 1082. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Dan Asuko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I'm Honorable Dan Asuko, representing Akam Kwabiase Federal Constituency, and I'm from Cross River State. I move to second the motion as moved by the chairman, EFCC. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to move that this House do resolve to the Committee of Both for consideration of the reports. I so move.
Chairman rules.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion that the House do dissolve to Committee of the Whole to consider the reports. I so move.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. House hereby resolved to the Committee of the Whole to consider report. Honorable Mustafa Dawaki, Chairman Appropriation. Chairman Appropriation, please suspend your subcommittee meeting there, please. Chairman Appropriation, come and take your seat. Come and take your seat, Chairman Appropriation. The first report to be considered is that of the House Committee on Aids, Loans and Debt Management on proposed external borrowing request for state governments under the 2016-2018 external borrowing rolling plan of that of Jigawa, Ogun, Plateau, and Katsina. So I now invite Chairman House Committee on Aids, Loans and Debt Management to briefly speak to the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my colleagues. I'm Honorable Adeyinka Ajayi, and I represent the people of Odoti, Felodu, and Borife local governments. I'm from the state of Washington. Mr. Chairman and my colleagues, this is a continuation of the request by Mr. President in respect of the external borrowing rolling plan for 2016-2018. Honorable colleagues will recall that Mr. President had requested that the state component of that external borrowing plan be treated expeditiously so that the states can access these funds for utilization under their 2017 appropriation laws. Honorable colleagues will remember that in July, we had taken the first batch of the states under that request, and those states were Abia, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Kano states in respect of various amounts standing to their credit under the request. Honorable colleagues, this is the second batch of the states comprising Jigawa, Katsina, Ogun, and Plateau states. From the report of the committee as presented to members, we'll see that Jigawa state government is requesting for a facility from the Islamic Development Bank in the sum of $32.4 million, while the Katsina state government is requesting for finance from the Islamic Development Bank also in the sum of $110 million, whilst Ogun State is requesting for a World Bank assisted facility, a development policy operation facility of $350 million. And finally, the Plateau State government is requesting for finance from the French Development Agency to fund its state's water sector reform project under a program initiated by the federal government, which is the third National Urban Water Sector Reform Project 3. Mr. Chairman, my respected colleagues, the committee took pains to do the laundry on the specific requirements of our laws, particularly the Fiscal Responsibility Act, the Debt Management Office Act, the revised external and domestic borrowing guidelines for federal and state governments and their agencies issued by the Debt Management Office, and the various documents presented by the invited agencies and ministries and state governments who are beneficiaries of this loan. And the committee, having reviewed the submissions and the documents made to us, have made the recommendations contained in paragraph 9 of our report. And I commend these recommendations for the approval of the House. I so submit, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. Let's go to page 16 of the report, where we have the recommendation. And let me make briefly this correction. that the House do approve the ongoing negotiation of external borrowing in the sum of $492.4 million for the underlisted states projects. That's the first one. Then the second one, Roman figure 2, $110 million Islamic Development Bank assisted health system. I think that is for Katsina. Chairman, am I in order? So the word Katsina is missing. So fix Katsina to wherever it's supposed to be in that sentence, because that's the recommendation that we are carrying. So, honorable colleagues, the first recommendation is that the $32.4 million Islamic Development Bank assisted Jigawa State Integrated Rural Development Project be approved, carried. The second one is $110 million Islamic Development Bank assisted health system for Katsina project be approved, carried. The third one is that $350 million World Bank assisted Ogun State Development Policy Operation be carried. And lastly, $50 million French Development Bank assisted Plateau Third National Urban Water Sector Reform Project be approved, carried. And second recommendation, that the terms and conditions of the loan from the respective development agencies be forwarded to the Committee on Aids, Loans and Debt prior to the execution, I think to the House. Yes. To the House, not to the committee. It is when it is forwarded to the House will now properly refer to the committee to act on its behalf. So that recommendation is to the House. Or to the National Assembly, rather. Have been properly guided to the National Assembly because it's job for the two houses. So the correction is accordingly taken, and so the amended recommendation approved, carried. The next report to be considered is the report of the Committee on Health Institutions on the public hearing on a bill for an act to amend and repeal the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria Act, Chapter P17, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and reenact the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria Act to regulate the training and practice of pharmacy and for other related matters, House Bill 364 and House Bill 656. And I invite. Yes, we will consider it, but next time, this bill is supposed to have about 4 columns: the principal act, the bill, the recommendation, and remark. But we'll go ahead and consider it. So, Honorable Betty, speak to the report.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the bill, the Pharmacists Council Act P17, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, is actually being reenacted basically because of the name. We changed the name to Pharmacy Council. So there's a small error and correction to be made on the report. So the law became inadequate and failed to reflect the present-day realities on the ground that thereby making it a bit archaic. So the bill is basically to bring it up to speed, to make it more modern. So the change of name from Pharmacist Council of Nigeria to Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. The reduction of the governing board of the council from 63 to 27 because they felt the governing board was a bit unwieldy to run the institution. The powers to regulate stakeholders in the pharmacy practice is one of the changes that was made. The requirement of pre-action notice in line with similar legislation is one of the changes made. It also spells out all dangerous drugs, and that they should all be dispensed only by prescription, and made it made it an offense if they are dispensed without prescription. And then the amendment also provides a single referee body for pharmacy practice and captures pharmacy technicians and others under this act. So basically, these are the small changes, but the basic major change is the name of the institution. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Has 72 clauses, so we now go ahead to approve the clauses. Clause 1, Clause 2, Clause 3, Clause 4, Clause 5, Clause 6, Clause 7, Clause 8, Clause 9, Clause 10, Clause 11. Steve, carry me. Are you just waking up? Thank God you were not here yesterday. Clause 13, Clause 14, Clause 15, Clause 16, Clause 17, Clause 18, Clause 19, Clause 20, Clause 21, Clause 22, Clause 23, Clause 24, Clause 25, Clause 26, Clause 27, Sajios Ogun, Clause 27. Clause 28, Clause 29, Clause 30, Clause 31, Clause 32, Clause 33, Clause 34, Clause 35, Clause 36, Clause 37, Clause 38, Clause 39, Clause 40, John Bull, Clause 40, Mustad Fadawaki, Clause 1, Clause 42, Clause 43, Clause 44, Clause 45, Clause 46, Clause 47, Clause 48, Clause 49, Clause 50, Clause 51, Clause 52, Clause 53, Clause 54, Clause 55, Clause 56, Clause 57, Clause 58, Clause 59, Clause 60, Sylvester. Betty, is it true there's dangerous drug in this bill?
Yeah, yes, sir. 60. 60, sir.
Clause 61, Clause 62, Clause 63, Clause 64, Clause 65, Clause 66, Clause 67, Clause 68, Clause 69. Ingajai, Clause 70, Clause 71, Clause 72, first schedule, second schedule, explanatory memorandum, long title of the bill. The next and the final report for the day to be considered is a bill for now to provide a legal framework for the Nigeria Financial Intelligence Agency as the central body in Nigeria responsible for receiving, requesting, analyzing, and disseminating financial intelligence reports and other information to law enforcement, security, and intelligence agencies and other relevant authorities, and for related matters 2017 House Bill 1082. And I invite Chairman House Committee on EFCC to speak to the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Kayode Oladele. I represent Imekwa from Yewa North Federal Constituency. I'm from Ogun State. This is the continuation of consideration of report on a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Agency as the central body in Nigeria responsible for receiving, requesting, analyzing, and disseminating financial intelligence report and other information to law enforcement, security, and intelligence agencies and other related authorities and for related matter. House Bill 1082. Mr. Chairman, it's a continuation. I think the last time we were asked to do a few corrections, which we have done, and I believe it is good to go. I urge members to please consider this bill and approve it. Thank you very much.
Yes, this is a resumption of the consideration of this report, and there were two major issues we raised the last time we suspended the consideration. One is to see whether it is appropriate to use the word agency instead of unit, and the other one to see whether whoever that is going to head the unit be confirmed, his appointment be confirmed by the Senate. It's been extensively argued, and so we are going to make some amendments. First one is agency is going to be changed to units, and another clause is going to be provided in the report to show that whoever is the director of the unit is going to be a member of the board of the EFCC, so that he does not stand there alone and be acting as individual. So I will, before we go ahead at all, no, you can't prefer an agency. This thing has been subjected to a lot of legal framework, and that's why we have brought it back. So we are going to change the agency to unit, and we are going to provide a provision that whoever that is the head of that unit is going to be a member of the board of the EFCC, since the appointment of the person is not going to be subjected to Senate confirmation. So, Honorable Oladele, who are your allies to move for respective amendments?
Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Odebo Mishegun is my name. I represent the good people of Surulere Regular Federal Constituency. Mr. Chairman, based on the well consultations and deliberation, I hereby move that wherever we see the word agency appear on the bill should be changed to unit in order to meet the standard.
I am Honorable Bangboshi Oton Joseph. I rise to second the motion as moved.
The amendment is that wherever agency appears in the report, it should be changed to unit. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Betty, you are not supposed to join that. We pass your motion, your bill now, 72 clauses with speed of light, and you are dragging us back. If I know you are going to say nay, we will have suspended your own bill. The other one, Aji Aduku, you want to move the motion that, Kayode, you have to advise us, just wait a moment, you have to advise us where we are going to put the clause for the case of director to be part of EFCC board.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are going to, last week we ended on clause 5. Clause 5. And that will be section, the director shall, 5.2, it's going to be E now. The 2E, 5.2E. it's going to be 52E now, and the amendment will be that, right, we're adding a new E, that the director of the NFIU shall be a member of the EFCC board. That is it. No, it's not.
No, it's not. It's a unit.
The outlining is somehow, but because of the importance of the bill, it has international connection. When I was told, the chairman, Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption visited yesterday, and when he told me the implication of not passing this bill, that means if we refuse in the next few months, our cars are no longer be able to work in other countries of the world. It's important. So that's the implication. But the outlining of this bill is awkward. So I will enjoy our record department to please pay particular attention to the outlining. So what he is trying to do is refer to page 6. Refer to page 6. Clause 5 is found on page 5, part 3, management and staff of the unit. So now go to 5.2. You now have additional provision of E. You have additional provision of E. So let colleagues now hear how you want to couch it before we go ahead to approve the clause.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The clause is going to be couched that the director shall, just like 1A, B, C, D, E. E now shall be a member of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Board.
So the provision, no, since it's moved by the chairman himself, is in order, it doesn't need to be seconded. He's the one who has presented the report. So the provision is that the director of this unit will now be a member of the board of EFCC. That is the 5.2E. And I gave the background, Chris, I gave the background that when this bill was first, this report was first considered at the committee of the whole, we argued extensively on the usage of agency, and by having a director to head an agency that is going to be autonomous and the headship is not going to be subjected to confirmation of the Senate. Those are two lacuna, and we sorted them out. It's referred to units anywhere all over the world, and that the man is not going to be left alone to act. And that's why there's that provision now that whoever that's the head of this unit is going to be a member of the EFCC board. So we are in order. So let us now go ahead to now consider the report. It has 30 clauses. No, no basis for, you can't comment. No, IGR you can't comment unless if I call a clause. If I call a clause, you can comment on a clause. That's the procedure. That's the procedure. That's the procedure. But because you are a regular participant in the committee of the whole, I will indulge you. But the procedure is you can only comment on clauses. So IGR, let me listen to you. You will wait, but be vigilant before I pass. No, Betsy, I'm not going to indulge you. Clause 1. Clause 1. Clause 2. Clause 3. Clause 4. Clause 4, Sylvester. Aja is on clause 4 too.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. My name is Sylvester Waga. When we look at 4C, we also look at the powers we are giving the unit. It's becoming too wide to say the unit should review anti-money laundering, counter-terrorism financing, proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, countermeasures and associated. Is becoming too wide for the unit. So I think we have a second look at this particular assignment for the unit.
Second look is either you provide solution. Are you subjecting the clause to debate? You can't. If you have solution to that particular provision, then mention it. Let's hear you. If you don't have, let's go ahead, please.
My suggestion is that we delete this entirely. Yes, because of the wide nature of it, far from what's supposed to be the function of the unit.
You have not solved the problem, Honorable Sylvester. Okay, you want to delete. So he's asking for deletion of 4E. 4C.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The 4E is very fundamental. That's one of the core functions of a financial intelligence unit. And I would urge the House to retain it. Thank you.
Unless if the House can be properly guided, if this provision is in other status belonging to the other security, if it's not, then there's no reason for us to just delete it. If there is anybody, John Bull. So, when we were approving loan for Jigawa just a moment ago, you didn't ask for deletion. Clause 4. Clause 5, Ajia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 5.1 and 5.5. If we have agreed that it is a unit, then the appointment that says and shall be appointed by the president. If we have agreed that it is a unit, I think then the appointment should not go to Mr. President. And 5.5. And 5.5 says that 5.5 says, notwithstanding the provisions of subsection 4 of this section, the president again may remove the director from office, because I don't want us to have conflict with the public service rule again. If is designated as a director, then it will come into conflict with the public service rule.
Ajia, when you get to the level of director, at times it could be a political appointment.
Director is promotion, but this one is a specialized agency.
Yes, is this the same thing? Let's solve our problem first before you add your own. It's just, I've been probably guided that it's just a nomenclature. And don't forget that by the earlier amendment, this man cannot act alone any longer. He's the head of a unit and is a member of a board somewhere. So he can no longer act alone. Unless if you can throw more light on what you actually want us to do.
Mr. Chairman, we agreed on the amendment that it's no longer going to be an agency. It's going to be a unit. So if it is a unit, it means the appointment doesn't have to go to Mr. President.
The appointment doesn't have to go to the presidency.
Mr. Chairman, sir, that is just the issue of nomenclature. Just like we already said, our FIU is a member of the other FIUs all over the world. And we have 156 countries. If Nigeria refuses to do that, we will be 1 out of 156 countries. That is how it is done. That is the practice.
I will come to you, Chris.
To speak, on this row here, nobody has a copy of the neglected this row. Nobody has a copy here. But following the arguments and from listening to the arguments, I think Ajay has a good point. He says that everybody is saying it's just nomenclature. But nomenclature can be very important. Nomenclature can change the interpretation and the entire substance of a law. Because the word unit suggests that you are under an agency or somebody else. So to bring, the structure of government, to bring the president down all the way to appointing somebody at the unit level, it does not really smack well of a true character of the structure of our government. So, but if from what the chairman of the FCC is saying, there are 150 something countries that have these units, I think this particular might be worth stepping down for him to furnish us with evidence. He didn't say whether in those 150 something countries it is their president that appoints the head of the unit. He didn't say so. He just said that there are 150 something who have who have these units, but are the head of those units appointed by the president? That is really the issue. It's a very germane point that we shouldn't dismiss, and I think we should get more information on what is done, international best practices all over the world.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My distinguished colleagues, we've listened to what what the House Leader said. It's about nomenclature, but we all know globally FIUs are standalone agencies, whereby every other law enforcement agency go to them to extract information. And therefore it requires the automatic appointment of Mr. President. If he stands alone, immigration, drug law enforcement agents, everybody will apply to get records from them. They're not into enforcement. They provide intelligence to everybody. Do you understand? To everybody. It's a unit on its own. Some put it under their central bank or Federal Reserve, some put it other places, or it gathers financial intelligence and make it available to everybody. And that's why we're saying it shouldn't be under EFCC, like any other agencies. Because EFCC would stop DSS, stop NDLE, stop other people. We don't want it to be a property of EFCC. That's why they wanted to be a standalone agency on this one. Thank you, sir.
No. Okay, let's listen to Dr. MS first. MS.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mohammed Sani Abdul Al-Kali, Rikri Federal Constituency. Sir, I want to lend my voice to the last speaker. But what is important is that I think our colleagues, including the leader, are making a mistake. They are thinking of the public service whereby you have units, departments, and the agency itself. But this is a very special unit. We have just said we have changed the name from agency to unit as a correction. And this is also according to international best practice. It is called a unit because it is supposed to be like a rapid response in trying to gather financial institutions. So it's a nomenclature in reality, but it is so robust. Therefore, we are not going through the hierarchy of public service. This is a special thing, so please, sir, I think they are mistaken. We should just carry this on. Thank you.
Okay, MS, don't tell us that our leader has made mistake. You always say an oversight in debate. But that's the nomenclature. Baba Keita.
Yes, sir. My contribution too is that the people who want to take out back have not succeeded. They have not convinced us that there is any contradiction between the unit. No, not the unit. There is no contradiction. The president can appoint in a unit. Why not? Is there any contradiction, or is there any law binding the president to appoint anybody to head a unit? I don't think there is anything. If there is that fact, then that would have been our problem, or our issue here, and none exists. And if there is, let us know.
5. Clause 6. Clause 7. Clause 8. clause 9, clause 10, clause 11, clause 12, clause 13, clause 14, clause 15, clause Jambu. Are you being distracted by Rita, or Rita is distracting you, or you are distracting Rita? Which one? By the bill. The bill is complex, too complex for him. You are concerned about Nigerians. Our eyes are not being tied to anything. We only want to join the international organization in a manner to make sure that our traveling and other exigencies are smooth. Clause 16, clause 17, in my econ, is not. You see, you are not with us. Which clause? Huh? No wonder you are giving local content. You are horribly local and conservative. Clause 17, clause 18, clause 19, clause 20, clause 21, clause 22, clause 23, clause 24, clause 25, clause 26. Leader.
Yeah.
Leader. Okay, you are our leader.
'26 that says the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice may make regulations as necessary or expedient for the efficient implementation of the provision of this bill. I just wanted us to examine this provision very carefully, that the Attorney General may make regulation as necessary or expedient for the efficient running. On the face of it, sorry? It's at the head. Because on the face of it, it looks innocuous and harmless. But then where is the independence of the unit or agency or what? If the Attorney General, basically the Attorney General can regulate, do whatever it is.
What's, yes, empty.
Mr. Chairman, honorable members, the observation made by the leader is very, very germane. In the sense that I think last week, this House, in order to jealously guard and protect the independence of this House, we first, for second reading, a bill regulating subsidiary legislation. And this clause is within the ambit of subsidiary legislation. And specifically, in that bill that we passed, we said all subsidiary legislation should be brought to the approval of this House. And there is no, this clause is given unlimited powers to the Attorney General to make regulations and what have you, without subjecting it to the approval of the House. So I'm making an amendment to this clause that it should be subject to the approval of the National Assembly. It should be made subject because we should not donate our powers just like that to the Attorney General. Thank you.
So it is taken that the leader has moved for the deletion of that clause and seconded by MT Moguno. So those in favor of that motion say aye. Those against say nay. This casino man, the ayes have it. So we have rescinded the earlier decision of approving that clause, and it's been accordingly deleted. Clause 26. 27. Clause 27, no, it will be corrected in the record. Let's just continue. Clause 27, please be vigilant now. IGR clause 27. Clause 27 is on page 114. Carried. Clause 28. Clause 29. Clause 30. Explanatory memorandum. Long title of the bill. Leader.
Mr. Chairman, I rise to move that this House refer to plenary. I so move.
Empty.
Honorable Chairman, I hereby second that the House report back to plenary to report progress.
The House hereby reverts back to plenary to report progress. I think leader has to beg the House. They are trying to delete the leader. Honorable colleagues, the House in the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on AIDS, Loans and Debt Management on the proposed external borrowing request for state governments under the 2016-2017 external borrowing rolling plan for Jigawa, Katsina, Ogun, and Plateau states, and approved recommendation 1 and 2 of the report. The House in the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on Health Institutions on a bill for an act to repeal the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria Act, Chapter P17, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and reenact the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria Bill to regulate the training and the practice of pharmacy and for related matters, and approved clauses 1 to 72, the first and second schedule, the explanatory memorandum, and long title of the bill. The House in the Committee of the Whole considered the report on a bill for an act to provide a legal framework for Nigeria Financial Intelligence Units as the central body in Nigeria responsible for receiving, requesting, analyzing, and disseminating financial intelligence reports and other information to law enforcement, security and intelligence agencies, and other relevant authorities, and for related matters 2017, and approved clause 1, amended clause 2, approved clauses 3 and 4, amended clause 5, approved clauses 6 to 25, rejected clause 26, approved clauses 27 to 30, the explanatory memorandum, and long title of the bill. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I move for adoption, may I just very quickly say, yesterday you talked about deletion of the House Leader. Today you have referred again to the deletion of the House Leader. But let me just say this very quickly, Mr. Speaker, and I want you to say a big amen to this. I believe that before I am deleted from this House, you will be deleted from this House, because by next year, when you are in government house with us, you will no longer be here with us. So I want you to say amen that you will be deleted before me. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the House adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole. I so move.
Empty.
Honorable Speaker, I hereby second the motion ably moved by the House Leader.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader.
I rise, Mr. Speaker, to move that this House stand adjourned till tomorrow 11 a.m. I so move. I'm sorry.
Can you come again?
Till Tuesday 11 a.m. I so move.
Empty. Empty. The House stands adjourned till Tuesday, 28th of November 2017, 11 a.m.